stop buying dedicated motorcycle GPS units. Seriously, before you drop $400, $600 on a Garmin Zumo or a dedicated CarPlay system, I want to show you a way that the phone that's sitting in your drawer right now, or a cheap $40 burner phone, actually can be a much superior navigator. So stick around. Okay, so let's talk about the different systems here that we might be able to use for navigation. And the first thing that I looked at was a Garmin. And I would encapsulate the TomToms and any of the regular GPS units into this category. And I rejected them. Why did I reject them? Well, I gotta tell you, they're outrageously expensive, first and foremost. And the technology that you're using is really not that good. Somebody told it to me this way one time. They said, you know, it's 1996 technology with 2026 prices. And I think that's pretty much true. And so I just didn't even look anymore for them. My next system that I looked at was a CarPlay ride. I actually purchased a CarPlay ride. And I found out that the Auto Android didn't support all the apps some of the apps that I wanted to put onto it. So that one was rejected. I also didn't like the fact that it was nothing but a dumb screen. And one of the major pluses is I can keep my phone on my person. You know, an advantage to using something besides my phone is I can keep my phone on my person, and the navigation system is going to be on the bike so that the phone stays with me if I were to need it for anything. Well, if I were to need it for anything, it might be dead, battery dead, because you got to have it running. And now that it's on me, it's more difficult to charge unless I want to run a wire and be connected to the bike with a wire. So that was rejected next. My next thought was a rugged phone, and I may end up going with a rugged phone. When I looked into them, though, the screens are not really as good as they could be. And that is why I started looking at, well, okay, how about a burner phone? And that's when I ran across a deal for a Samsung A15, and that's a large screen. I forget what size the screen is, but it's larger than most of the screens. But more importantly, it has a very bright screen with it. And so that was a good feature. I got that phone for less than $40, and I got it that cheap because they want to sell you they put a pretty decent phone on there, and it's a locked phone with, I don't know if it was lock phone or Verizon or track phone, you know, for something. And they're hoping that you're just going to stay with their service. So they give you 1 month free of that, and they give you a free phone. Well, as soon as the phone come in, I went ahead and stripped the SIM card out of it. And then we turned the phone on, and I started deleting everything that could be deleted on the phone. I got rid of all of it. And then I put my OsmAnd maps onto it. And I put a bunch of MP3s on it. Other than that, nothing else. Well, I think I may have some local Google offline maps on here. I'm not even sure if I put them on there yet. But we did all that, and then we broke into the modes and routines to do a little bit of work there. So that's what we got. Okay, let's talk about the features that I like about this system. I've got it tapped into my motorcycle so that when I turn on the bike, then it opens up and it'll go to my navigation after, I think it's 5 seconds, it goes to my map. I happen to use, my preferred app of choice is OsmAnd Plus. And so That's what it opens up on, but we can have it open up onto anything. When I turn off the bike, then it automatically shuts down after 15 seconds. We could make that a little bit quicker than that, but I'm not going to get into digging into it too deeply, because what that does is when I stop at a gas station or something like that, it gives me the ability to just turn off the bike and walk in, and I don't have a screen sitting here that's still turned on and bright and attracting attention for somebody to try and grab it up. So we really like that idea. What's some of the other advantages to this? Well, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but all cell phones have the ability to dial 911 in an emergency. Even a cell phone like this one that has no SIM card, no cell plan, it's just considered a dead burner phone. But I can still dial 911. So if there happens to be an accident and my normal phone is damaged somehow, I have a second line that I could call. That is a huge factor that none of the other systems could satisfy. I guess a rugged phone, but we're not throwing that rugged phone out of the idea of maybe needing to go with that yet. So we've got that it's integrated into the bike. It is a backup emergency call. That's some good advantages. What's some others? Well, I've just put my own selection of music on this through MP3s. And I don't know how much of an advantage that is, but it's kind of nice to not have to listen to streamed music. I can pull up my own whatever I want. Another advantage, this is a very, very familiar platform to almost everybody. And so it's very easy to work with. Unlike maybe your satellite or Garmin, where you got to have a certain system for uploading the maps and updating and getting used to it. I don't have any issues with anything like that. So it's a very familiar platform. That's a feature that I really appreciate. Another feature that I like is the way that this operates integrated with the helmet. If I happen to be playing some music on here and the navigation comes on to tell me turn left in 3/10 of a mile, it cuts down the volume on the navigate or on the music while the navigation is speaking. It also, and this is more a feature, not so much with the phone, but with the Bluetooth that I use, but my regular phone, when I get a phone call, overrides everything. And so it will mute the navigation and it will pause the music if I get a phone call in, if I answer it. Of course, I could ignore it. I don't know that I could necessarily call that an advantage of this, but it's a feature that I really like, and I'm not sure how well that would go over with the navigation, like a TomTom or a Garmin. So that's a feature that I really like. What is it that I'm still in the process of doing? Now, I will tell you, I have tested this over, where are we at here on this? 1,100 miles. So I've tested this probably over 600 miles now, and it has worked flawlessly. I have a waterproof case for it, but I have not placed it in there yet. And the reason for that is I've got it on a phone mount here, and when you put the waterproof case on it, it fits, but it's kind of jammed into that phone mount. It takes a larger mount. So for right now, if it starts to rain, I can drop it into my tool bag. I can tell you if it starts raining too much, I'm looking for shelter anyway. But we will get that set up. I'm looking for a better mounting system for it to mount it a little bit more direct to my navigation bar. I have got to, well, I want to, I've got it plugged into a USB right here. And that works fine. But once I put it into the waterproof case, I want to quit using the USB on my dash, and so I'm going to wire a USB to a keyed fuse under my seat and run it up underneath of the fairing, and I will run this plug-in inside the fairing so that if I do happen to get caught in rain, number one, the waterproof case would protect the phone even when it's charging, but then I don't have to worry. I can cover up my USB because you don't want to be riding around in the rain with that thing wide open. It will also free that up to charge anything else, whether it's a camera or if I forgot to charge my regular phone, you know, it'll leave another USB open to me for other items. So that's what we're planning on doing with it. What are some of the disadvantages of this system? Well, it's difficult to use this with gloves on. You know, you can pull up something else there, but it's not real easy. Something like the CarPlay ride or the GPS makes things a little easier there. I could get into a, you know, download something to basically a custom launcher and work with it that way would make it a little bit easier, but I, generally speaking, do not don't sit here and operate the music or anything else, you know, when I'm actually out here riding. I'll have the music playing. If I need to change something, I'll just reach up to my helmet and flick over to the next one or something like that. So I'm not sitting there checking social media or anything like that while I'm out riding. So it's not a huge disadvantage, but it is a little bit of a disadvantage. What's some other ones? Well, as I said, I'm not tossing out the idea of the rugged phone just yet, because I am a bit concerned that this phone will not be able to hold up to the vibration and bouncing, even though it's on a dampening phone mount. I'm not completely sure it'll hold up to that. And I think the weak link, I don't care about the camera because I'm using my other phone camera. So that's not a big deal to me, but I'm thinking that the USB right here could be a possible weak link. And so what we've done is I have zip tied this wire to here so that holds it to where basically we don't have the phone shaking this way and the USB shaking that way and knocking anything loose in there. I think that's going to be all right, but more time will tell, because look, it can be a lot different at 600 miles than it ends up being at 6,000 miles. So that's really my only concerns with this. I mean, at the price of it, it's really disposable compared to what other systems are out there. So that's what we've got with it. So with all that being said, hey, if you want to see how this ends up working longer term, want to see some of the other things, or if you want to find out just how it is that this OsmAnd app really outperforms Google for motorcycle rides, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you like this, hit the like. And I think that will wrap it up for this one right here. So, till the next one, Southern Cycling and Beyond, telling you, stay safe, God bless, and keep the wheels rolling. Once again, we're out.